Hi guys, welcome everyone. My name is Vera and today we're going to paint our glass slipper for the one and only. This is a Cinderella inspired painting with a wonderful glass slipper. I have a version of it right here, and you see I added a silver paint. So this is metallic silver paint in there. If you don't have silver paint, you're welcome to leave this just white. However, silver paint does really add a cool shine to it, so I would definitely recommend either silver paint or maybe glitter paint. That's okay too. Silver glitter paint is fine if you don't have a metallic paint, but definitely add something shiny to it. So what we're going to start with is pre-sketched canvas. Again, if you painted with us before, it's very similar to what we normally do. Make sure you pre-sketch it. There's an outline. There's a link to the outline in the description of this video. And what I did is basically what you would do is you would print it, you would trim it, and then you would tape it to the back of your canvas, and you're going to put it over a window, and as light shines you're going to be able to outline it. If you don't have a home printer, you can pull up the image of the outline on a large screen device such as laptop or a tablet and outline it with a pencil on the piece of paper first, and then do the same thing. So cut it, put it back, and put this over a window and outline it to the canvas that way. My canvas, again, pretty standard. I'm going to be using 8 by 10 inch. That's what we use a lot lately. You're more than welcome to use any size, especially if you can enlarge your image. So you're welcome to use any size canvas. I'm going to be using 3 different colors for my paint, plus I'm going to be using silver as my metallic addition. Very last, I don't have it on my palette yet, but I will be adding it once I get there because it's going to be done very last. So for now, all I need is white, blue, and black. If you guys want to do this not in the shades of blue, but maybe in the shades of something else, you're more than welcome to. You can make it in shades of purple, pink, green, honestly, whatever your favorite color is. It's pretty monochromatic. It doesn't have many colors going on, so just choose your favorite plus black and white. I'm going to be using blue. And of course, as always, we need a couple different brushes. Large, medium, and small is ideal. So I'm going to be using this fluffy large brush. For my medium, I will probably use, let's see, I'll use this one maybe, or this one. I'm not sure. I haven't decided. Maybe this one. This one sounds good. Rounded. And for my small one, I'll use, as always, a small brush with a pointy tip. So yay, and let's start painting because I am excited. I am actually loving this whole princess series. I'm all about that kind of life nowadays. I have a 3-year-old who is in a princess phase of her life, so this is right about my alley. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my background, and I'm gonna start from going from lighter color towards the slightly darker one. So I'm gonna scoop some white on the side. I'm gonna add a little bit of blue. I'm going to start in a rounded motion, going right here. I'm not being very careful with my shoe because, again, I'm going to cover all that up with other colors anyway, so I'm not going to be worried about that now. It's a lot easier for me not to, and I'm going to stick with that. So I'm going to continue in a rounded motion, just adding my brush strokes. By the way, I can still see everything underneath it. Do you see I'm not losing my lines? I can still see stuff underneath, so I'm alright with that. And now as I go further, I'm going to start making my color a little bit darker by using just a touch more blue. So I might even add a bit more darker color. So let's add even more blue. We'll just add a couple more even slightly darker lines on top. I'm not looking for a perfect blending for my background. I do personally actually like when there's a bit of texture going on. So that's not the goal for me to blend it to a complete smooth perfection. I do like some textureness, so I'm gonna keep it. And I'm gonna add even a bit of touch of white in the middle. So I'm gonna wash off my brush, dab it off on a paper towel, and take a little bit of white. And with this, I'm gonna go maybe add a couple little brush strokes of white. Again, mostly to create a bit more texture here. A couple more streaks. All right, beautiful. Now I'm gonna start working on my shoe. Again, as I mentioned earlier, I can still see my lines here, although they're hard to see. They are there, as you can see. So I'm gonna start with coloring in this part. Let's start with that. And I'm gonna use my medium brush. So what are we gonna do as a base tone? I'm gonna use something like that. So the color that I used here, this darker, not extremely dark, but darker blue, I'm gonna go with it right here. If medium brush is difficult for you, small brush is also a very good choice for this. So feel free to switch to small one, but medium, if that works, that's great. Medium or small, either is good. So I'm gonna start by doing that shade that I did on my ends as a base here, and then right away, I'm gonna wash off my brush, dab it off on a paper towel, and I'm gonna take a little bit of white. And with this white, I'm gonna go right in the middle of that, and I'm gonna lighten up that middle. There we go. So now when I have that, I'm gonna move to this and I'm gonna make it darker than that. So I'm gonna just add a tiny smidge more blue here. And maybe I will even add a tiny, tiny dot of black just to dim it down a little bit so it's not so vibrant. And again, as soon as I have it, I'm gonna take some white, wash off my brush, dab it off on a paper towel, take some white and lighten up this corner of it. So the right bottom side of it. So it still has quite a bit of contrast closer to where the two colors connect, but it gets a little bit lighter towards the other end. Awesome. Once I have that, I'm gonna move on to the rest of the shoe. So here's what I'm gonna tell you here. If your design is super light, I would say take a pencil and outline it slightly darker because you're gonna be painting. It's easier to paint the whole shoe without avoiding your design and just go and paint the whole thing. It's going to be very streaky and you're not going to get the best result if you paint around your design. Although it's not impossible, but it will likely, not guaranteed, but likely give you worse result than if you paint it fully. And also it will take like 10 times longer. So I would recommend that if you want to preserve your design and you're afraid to lose your design, take a pencil and just darken it up a bit. Alternatively, we can always freehand this design or sketch it again over our paint once the paint dries. So it again, totally up to you. I am not worried to lose it. I'm happy to freehand it if I lose it, but also I want you guys to have an option and know what to do if you are worried to lose it. So now I outlined my design a little bit darker. Now I'm going to be doing the whole shoe in about this color scheme. So do you remember that tone we used? That again, it was the tone from the corner. So again, no black added to this one. I'm just going to add some white, some blue. Again, I'm aiming for the tone that's somewhere right here. If it's not exactly that tone, it's not the end of the world. It's not a big deal. And with that tone, I'm just gonna cover the whole shoe. Again, if you lose your design, well, you lose your design. If you're very specific about not losing your design, then sure, you can avoid it. It's okay. It's not a big deal. However, you can always sketch the design on top if it when it dries, if you're not up to freehand adding it, or you can try to make your line super dark underneath it. If you want to, you can even take Sharpie and Sharpie those lines, because Sharpies most of the time are waterproof, at least all those that I've tried. So you should be okay to paint right over them, and they will definitely be visible through your paint. For me, I can still see what's going on underneath my paint. Although not for long, because I'm going to be adding other colors here as well. So I'm going to start by adding darker colors, and for this I'm going to use my smaller brush. So I'm going to take a bit more blue to the same color I just used, and maybe a tiny dot of black just to make it a little bit dimmer. And with this color, I'm going to go closer to the edge here, and I'm going to sort of spread it a bit from the edge in. Maybe I'll even make it darker. This doesn't seem like the darkness I was hoping for. So let's make it a touch darker. Oh yeah, that's better. So I'm gonna add a little. And then I'm gonna take my medium brush, dry and clean. I'm just gonna blend it a bit with that. So see, it creates more of a 3D shape versus flat, because before, when it's just one color, it looks pretty flat. So by us making certain areas definitely darker, it creates a shape. All right, I like that. See, it's starting to shape up. Now I'm gonna take my medium brush, nice and clean and dry, and I'm gonna take a touch of white. Just again, just a little touch. I'll spread it, rub it into my brush, and then with this, I'm gonna go right in the middle, and I'm gonna add a highlight to give it even more of a 3D shape. So you see certain areas, I'm just adding a little highlight and blending it. And now our shoe becomes not just flat shoe, it gets the right shape. This is why I recommend not working around your design, because this is all so hard to do if you're working around your design. You literally have to add highlight to every single little element. But now it's just so much easier. All right, so I have that. While I still have a little bit of that darker paint that we use on the corners, I'm gonna take that and go ahead and add it a little bit right underneath that outline. We'll make a bit more paint. We can always blend it with a medium brush if I need to. All right, that looks wonderful. Now I'm gonna move to the hill. So again, I'm gonna start with just like a medium light blue, which is just white and blue, and I'll use that as a base for my hill because I need to color it with the color base color first. So again, we're aiming for this type of color. This looks pretty similar, so I'm gonna use that. And I'm gonna color in my hill with this. All right, and now I'm gonna take this darker color and I'm gonna start adding it. So I'm gonna add a bit of darker color right here in the middle. And right here on this side. All right, see, everything's starting to get shape. Now I'm gonna take a little bit more white. I'll water down my white because my white is very thick. So I have to continuously water it down just for normal consistency. If yours is not thick, you don't need to do this. And I'm gonna add a little highlight at this place where one side of the hill meets another side of the hill. So they're a bit more visually separate. Maybe a little highlight right here too. All right, and let's, you know what, let's darken up another. There's one more spot that I kind of want it even a little bit darker. So maybe I'll make even a slightly darker color. I want a little bit darker right here, just a touch darker. All right, and the only other thing that we don't have yet is gonna be shadow. We don't have any shadow yet. So one of those colors, darker blue, blue with slight touch of black. So this medium blue with a slight touch of black. I'm gonna take that and we're gonna add it underneath. So I'm gonna add a little bit right here. A little bit right here. And now I'm gonna take my, so I'm gonna wash my small brush and I'll take my medium brush, wet, somewhat wet, and I'll spread it. All right, maybe a little bit more here for shadow. We'll just continue adding until I feel like it's perfect, and then we'll stop. Okay, so now I have the base of it. Now, what you could do is you could start by making all your design and everything in white first and then add silver on top. Or again, if you're not using silver, you can just keep it white. Or you can do straight silver and skip the white. Either is fine. It really depends on how much time you have and what kind of paint you have. So I'm going to show you with the white version first. So I'm going to take my white paint and I'm going to go ahead and I will paint this edge with the white. Okay, then after that, I'm gonna add this white right here. It's gonna go all around. Beautiful. It's gonna make it really pop. I'm gonna add just a little bit right here, not a full on thick line, but just a touch. Just a touch right here. Again, not a full on thick line, but just a almost like a beginning and then have it disappear into the rest. And I'll add the bottom part right here. I'll cap my heel here with this white. And from there you can spread it up a bit too. And then I'm gonna add design on the shoe. So technically, if you want to add your own design here, you absolutely can. Again, wherever your imagination takes you, if it's easier for you to pre-sketch first before going in with paint, go for it. If you're just okay to freehand it, awesome, go for it. Whatever works for you guys. It's actually my favorite part of this painting is this design because it's so pretty. I feel like it really makes the shoe feel royal. So this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna add a bit of glare as well, so a bit more highlight. For this, I'm gonna use more of watered down white, so I'm not gonna use it as straight, and I'm not gonna use as much of it on my brush, so water it down and use just a little bit. We don't need that much. I'm gonna add a few highlights right here, because again, we're just trying to maintain the shape of the shoe, and also the shoe's supposed to be glass, so it would have naturally those higher, those more streaky highlights and more visible highlights and have a bit more gloss because it's glass, right? Glass is highly reflective surface, so we're trying to create that illusion of a highly reflective surface. All right, and another thing you could do, you could take a little bit of this darker color or one of them, and you can add it just underneath your designs. So you can add almost like a little outline to some of your designs. You don't have to outline them everywhere and all the way. You can just choose a few spots and add a little outline there, and it's just going to add a bit more contrast and make them look like maybe they have a texture, maybe they're slightly raised and therefore cast a slight shadow. So just add something interesting to them. Now again, for those of you who don't have silver paint or metallic of any kind or glitter paint, you're welcome to stop here. White is good. White looks good. For those of you who do want to add a pop of something shimmery, so this is what white looks like, right? And this is what silver looks like. It looks flat, almost the same, but when you turn it, see, it's reflective. It really looks like it's glowing, so I love that. For those of you who are just adding white, you're pretty much, your shoe is done. You have to only work a bit more on your background. For those of us who will be adding reflective surface, some sort of metallic or glitter paint, you need to wait for it to dry. So maybe I'll add a bit more darker, just like a couple touches darker here, and let it dry up a little bit more. Also, I'm gonna add stars to my background as well. All right, let's add stars to your background. I'm just gonna take white, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do dot. Oops, it's too much water. So I'm gonna do a dot, and then from that dot I'm gonna do line up, line down, line left, line right, and then so flick, 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 and then in between those lines another little flick, but those are smaller. And you can make as many of those stars as you want. You can have just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as many as you want. Totally up to you. I'll do a few big ones and a few simpler, smaller ones with just 4 lines instead of that many lines. There we go. And now I'm going to fill my background with dots. So dots you can do still with the same, the pointy tip of your small brush, or if you want to simplify it a bit, if you have any brush that has a rounded back end that's not majorly massive, take that brush and dip that back end, so not the painting part, in white, and just dot it up. That's the easiest way to do dots, and actually this is the best result for dots as well, because they're going to be consistently round if you're doing it this way. They're going to be in various sizes, because the ones that you do while your paint is still fresh, while you just refilled your brush back end of brush with paint, are going to be the biggest, and as you run out, as you continue dotting, they're going to get smaller and smaller. So you will have a variety, but also they're going to consistently stay circle in shape, which is fun and good looking. I like that. There we go. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to let this dry for a little bit. It's still really wet, and you can, well, at least I can't add silver until this dries to acceptable level of dryness, because otherwise I can't even add silver. It wouldn't stick. It simply wouldn't stick. It would lift the wet paint. So to let it dry for just a second, and I'm going to pause this video. It's going to feel like a second for you, but for me, I'm going to pause it and I'm going to give it just 5 minutes, maybe 2 to 5 minutes. It dries pretty fast, and then as soon as it's dry or dry-ish, I will resume it and we'll add silver. And again, I'll see you guys in just a second. All right, guys, I'm back. My painting is not fully dry, but it's acceptable dry. And here's what I'm going to use today. I'm going to be using iridescent pearl, but any silver or any shimmery metallic color would work for this. Or again, glitter paint is fine too. If you have the silver glitter paint, glitter glue, whatever you have is great. So I'm going to take a little bit of that. And I'm going to just add it to everything that is white. And what it will do, in my case, because I'm using iridescent white, the pearl color, it's not going to change the color, but it will give it a shimmer. And I'm just going to add that on all the design. I'm not going to be adding it on just general highlights, but yes, on all the pretty design. And if you want to add some on the stars or add a couple dots with that on the background, you're absolutely welcome to. See? Now it has that gold, sorry, not gold, silver reflective, pearl reflective look, which I love. And I will add a little bit of that on my stars. So I'm going to add the middle part of my stars in this. So my stars also look like they are glowing. And if you want to add any more dots in this color, you're absolutely welcome to. And then the last thing we gotta do here is we gotta sign it. So find a good spot, and as always, you're gonna put your name or your initials or anything else that you would like to sign it with. I'm gonna put my initials right here. And I'm gonna finish my edges as well, because why not? I might as well, right? So let's wash up our brushes quickly, really well. It's always good to keep our brushes in a good shape. I'll use this one maybe for the edges. I'm just gonna mix up a similar blue to that. So again, just white and blue, nothing fancy. And with this, I'm gonna go ahead and paint my edges because if you guys know me, if you painted with me before, I just like my edges painted. I like this sense of completion this brings into my life. All right, all done. Ta-da! And this is what it looks like. With my silver metallics, pearl metallics, with my painted edges. There we go. Ready for the wall, but needs to probably dry first. Well, thank you all guys for joining me. I hope that I will get a chance to see some of your beautiful paintings, and even more so, I hope that you'll make a good use of them. I hope you either enjoy them yourself and hang them on a wall or gift them to your favorite little prince or princess. You know, because we all need a little bit of dreaminess in our life and a little bit of fairy tale. So again, thanks for joining me guys, and let's do this again sometime soon. Bye everyone.